Mm. Girl. Oh, this is so good. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning back in to Chai No Sugar with Shamail Hassan. Our today's guest is an amazing person. I've talked to him off camera, and what a person. Meri tarah, he's a vakil as well. New York bar clear karke, he decided to come back. He practiced till high court, and now he decided that he's gonna start brewing coffees. Well, that's an amazing turn. We're gonna ask him a lot more questions with how he started all of this, his how he made a cult, a matcha cult. We're going to talk about his flagship stores in Lahore, where he started from a 350 square feet ki jaga with just 4 chairs and a table to this amazing empire that he has built and he is building. I've heard कि वो Karachi में भी खोल रहे हैं. So we're going to ask him questions. Ali Chughtai, thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you for having me over.
Ali Chughtai, very first question. I think जब पाकिस्तान में आपने practice start की होगी तो सबने पूछा होगा कानून क्यों? Why law?
Right.
So why?
The same reason that probably you practice law as well. Where there's will, there's hope.
Yeah.
I grew up in Pakistan, so did you. At some level, we are a nation of laws, and laws govern mindsets. Laws govern what is a culmination of public discourse amalgamated
Yes.
into what societal conscience is.
Yes.
So to be able to represent, defend, and litigate that
Yeah.
was a wonderful experience. Is a wonderful experience. Still, अब जितनी capacity में मैं अभी भी करता हूँ. I love law. Was my passion. Not growing up, but once I went to law school in Boston, I really enjoyed it. I still enjoy it. I miss it, and I think it's a noble profession. And to this day, I don't discourage anyone from pursuing it.
From being a lawyer to becoming an entrepreneur, why this shift? How?
Yeah, it was accidental. It wasn't a conscious design.
Interesting.
2022 May, I was still practicing law with my own law firm, and I ended up acquainting myself with this wonderful lawyer, actually, Isam Haris, a wonderful, wonderful lawyer and a friend. But he's a coffee connoisseur. So I remember one day I invited him over. I had just started to learn about the idea of coffee. मुझे बहुत कम idea था उसके बारे में. So I had a coffee machine and I had beans, which I had apparently an idea of. So once I made a coffee for him being very sincere and polite, he came to my office, and then we went to the law firm kitchen जहाँ पे वो machine थी.
Acha.
And he's like, this is not really how it works. Then he showed me the ins and outs of coffee over the next 6 months. And honestly, like, I learned so much from him. And based on that, I just had this faint idea. I live in cantonment, and cantonment has always been the graveyard of commercial concepts.
That's true.
So in 2022, I had this tiny space in mind कि मैंने सोचा कि maybe I would build a coffee shop there, but I was still honing my skills. So it's a long story, but basically when Double Shot started, I planned on making it a mom and pop kind of coffee shop. Like, 4 tables, small 350 square foot area.
Yeah.
I invested a lot of hard time and energy, but it was definitely more of a temporary fix, whereby I would perhaps, like make a team, and then after a couple of months, I could maybe just like go back to my law career, and it would just simultaneously keep operating in this very cozy environment. And naturally, space has a lot to do with investment of time and resources. So I figured कि हो जाएगा. But what followed was just simply unprecedented. It wasn't a conscious design or a plan कि long term में मैं आज जो मैं हूँ वो मैं करूँगा.
Oh, right. You said it was a long journey and a long story it is. Lekin I want to know that aha moment, that moment you were like, okay, कि अब मैंने जो you said कि, I made this very cozy space. What was that exact moment which led you to make that cozy space? Were you sitting in your lounge? You were in your room? You just woke up and you were like, आज करता हूँ.
Well, it happened slowly, unfortunately.
Okay.
It wasn't like a watershed eureka moment.
Okay.
But I will say कि जब हम ये concept को fine tune कर रहे थे, there were so many obstacles around, like along the way, or it was actually very, very nerve wracking, the idea, because as lawyers, we haven't gone to the quote unquote hospitality industry. So like it's kind of like if you are thrust into this environment where you have to operate an eatery space, it was just as nerve wracking for me. I assembled a good team. We practiced together in my law office. Actually, that was the first branch before the first branch, in the sense कि उधर हमने 3-4 महीने trainings की.
अच्छा,
We did 5:15 a.m. drills. We made recipes in the law office. आज तक मेरे law office में वो साइन बोर्ड पड़ा हुआ है, चॉक बोर्ड सॉरी, जिसमें अभी तक सारी रेसिपीज लिखी हुई हैं. And
You know where to find the recipes.
right, exactly. If you can get through my handwriting, that is.
Oh,
So,
lawyers.
lawyers, yeah, and boys, yes. So, yeah, so I would say till the day that Double Shot opened, I had no idea कि क्या exactly होगा. I remember my beans provider asking me a week before Double Shot opened कि आपको कितने kg चाहिए, and I said I have no idea how many can you give right now, because I don't know how much people are going to enjoy it, how many people are going to come by. I think preceding the first day, I had this idea of a pop-up day, and the idea was free coffee for everyone who comes in. And I think Joe investment of time and I would say mental energy into being in Pakistan for my whole life, despite being in the States for 12 years, like that bond I had with this country actually really paid off then. People ask me why I moved back. Perhaps it was for those moments, because I knew at some level, okay, I'd made a community investment throughout my life. So through that, a lot of friends and well-wishers came. And I think obviously those are not the people who are going to keep running your coffee shop.
That's true.
But I think it was just one of those things where it organically spread into something that was very positive then, and hopefully it's still positive now.
Inshallah, it will be, and it is. We know that. Who came up with the name Double Shot?
I was just sitting with my brother, and we were thinking of words for coffee. तो हमने कहा espresso, obviously not. Cappuccino, not a creative enough name. Latte. And then we looked up, then I said Double Shot. And Double Shot, we looked up Double Shot. There was one in Amritsar.
Okay.
But we figured okay, that should be, like, you're a lawyer, so you would know, okay, we trademark should
definitely.
But honestly, I was surprised that Double Shot was a name that no one had really thought of. So I pounced on it immediately, and I thought that would be a great name for a coffee shop. I feel like with some things in life, the first impression matters so much, and like a name like this, I immediately knew that okay, we are on the right track.
Yeah, it is definitely, because I think it's very minimalistic. It tells you it's a coffee shop. It's a Double Shot coffee shop. So I think it worked really well for you. There's this, I don't know if I did some research, and you said that your success, it came from discipline, hard work, and consistency. Do you think that legal training shaped this mindset? Because I don't think you usually hear these sort of words people use for success. They're like, oh, hum logon ne bahut zyada ye kiya, wo kiya. They put it, they give the credit all to their journey. But you say discipline, hard work, and consistency, something jo kaid shayad kahenge.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
But
that's a good one.
Do you think legal training ki wajah se this is your way to go?
Yeah, so I was never the brightest student when I was in HSN, when I went abroad. I worked hard. That was the only unique IP I had back then, even in law school and even when I practiced law in the States and in Pakistan. So I feel like there are many things that are within your purview and some that are beyond your grasp. Perhaps your ability to dissect certain concepts and principles might not be as celebrated as someone who has a more nuanced take or is more talented perhaps. But I think one thing that no one can substitute or take away from you is putting in the hours.
Yeah.
So for instance, like even when I started practicing in Lahore, I mean, we put in like 14-15 hours. आपने भी experience किया होगा litigation में इस तरह के दिन थे.
Yes.
And उस वक्त आप उस sense में नहीं सोच रहे होते कि oh, okay, what am I getting out of this? You're just like, I'm putting in the hours so I can perhaps make myself a better professional.
Yes.
So my legal training in that sense helped me with that idea of working hard. And I'm very grateful that it translated when I went into the hospitality industry. I was able to lead by example because जैसे हम law firm में हम trials करते थे Double Shot के. I remember the first time I introduced the concept that, okay, this is going to be the first coffee shop that starts at 6 a.m. I remember my team did not have much of a reaction because I think at some level they were like, okay, chalo, it's a fantasy concept. Kitna hi serious ho gaya. So then I remember, yeah, exactly. Now it is so serious that it's rampant, and 200 employees have to show up at the right time every day.
Zabardast.
But yeah, so like law office mein, we got together. So I remember we were doing our trainings, and I said, okay, well, tomorrow morning is going to be a fundamental shift. We're going to report at 5:15 a.m. And there was still no reaction. And I thought to myself, okay, am I missing something here? Are they not going to take me seriously at all? And then I remember Agli Subah, it was February, and it was still the winter season. So like 4:45 mein utha, Fajr ki azan ki awaaz aa rahi hai. And I'm like very pessimistic. I think to myself, okay, surely when I go to my office, no one's going to show up. And it was 6 of us back then who were doing these trainings and trying to develop like the systems for double shot and the recipes.
Okay.
So I show up at 5:15 at my law office, and within the next 5 minutes, like 6 people show up.
Oh,
and that was a eureka moment. That was the moment I knew, okay, I'm surrounded by not only well-wishers but doers who perhaps seeing I'm actually, walking the talk, they figured it's this is something that is very essential to the experience. So like that was the most unique IP that I could give.
Yeah, you did a workshop on that as well. We're going to talk about that. I want to ask you one more question. How important do you think is it? Because you did talk about a team, and it definitely shows that it takes a team to do all of that you're doing right now. How much time do you invest in your team, and how do you keep them the way they are, so motivated, wanting to work properly? And what do you think, what characteristic of yours got them to show up so early in the morning, sardiyon mein?
Well, that's a wonderful question, by the way. I think just leading by example. For instance, जैसे आप होगे वैसे आपके इर्द गिर्द लोग होंगे. I think that's something that I've learned in life, and sure many people can share that experience. So for instance, जब double shot बन रही थी, उसके दौरान, we came up with obstacles, we came up with variables that were not so favorable. उसके दौरान having a calm head, not like reacting at every single thing, not reacting at an omission, and plus, most important of all, being engaged in positive energy. Like for instance, now it's been almost 2.5 years since double shot. So, abhi bhi, 5 to 6 days a week, I am at a double shot at 6 a.m. There's no need to. I'm not there because I'm checking in on them. I'm there to be a part of the process, to share positive energy. We opened in Bahria town, which is, for me living in Kent, pretty far away.
Yes.
But I make it a point to go at least 5 times a week to Bahria town. Just because, I need my team to feel validated. I need them to feel that I am a part of the process. Obviously, the system is working perfectly. So when I go to a double shot, I don't just, go there and like I sit on my laptop and saab aage saab chale gaye. I like make coffees with them. I interact with them. And it really, really benefited me because it gave me credibility. And I think at some level that positive energy has still stayed to this day, because I will be literally willing to roll up my sleeves and make coffees for an hour. That's actually my favorite thing to do. But I don't do it so much anymore because I feel like, acha, ye system chal raha hai, let the system take care of itself. But I think at some level, because they see me being able to do all the things that they are supposed to do, that really helps.
It encourages them.
SAE.
That's amazing. One more question that I have. You did mention that you did extensively practice law. Do you miss practicing law?
Yes, I do. I mean, some concepts that are ingrained in us end up staying with us forever, right? Like,
Yes.
I still feel like there are certain things that when I look at other lawyers practicing or other clients having queries, I feel like I could do them justice, but then I have to do justice to myself as well and to everything that I own and operate. So बड़ा मुश्किल होता है कभी-कभी कोई ऐसी query आती है which I feel like, listen, if I had all the time and space, not all the time, like a reasonable amount of time, I would do it justice. But, it's for the best I delegate it or just give it to someone else.
Perfect.
It is sad, but it's just one of those things where it's a wonderful feeling that you have something even more impactful that is in your portfolio now.
Yeah. Ali, Double Shot started from a very small idea. Now it's a staple brand in Lahore. What do you think, in your opinion, what was the toughest part of scaling it up?
Um, First of all, it was a real blessing that I started small and I thought small as well. Now I know that at some level, हमारे माशरे में सिखाया जाता है कि you should be ambitious, you should be confident. I was the opposite of that.
Acha.
I started Double Shot with very limited expectations, but with those limited expectations was minimal stress and complete
Nice.
ability to focus on a good experience. So
That's
that really helped me actually. So scaling up was something that happened so organically. It literally happened because everyone else was telling me to, rather than me wanting to do it prematurely. So that was the most wonderful feeling. So within a few months of opening Double Shot first branch, small 350 square foot space, I decided to up the ante by having even better coffee machines so that we could basically make the experience of having coffee even better. And then 6 months in, मुझे लोगों ने इतना कहा कि अब आप कब खोल रहे, अब आप कब खोल रहे. Then I thought to myself कि okay,
Oy.
now it's time to seriously consider it.
So Zabardast. So you did the whole upscaling and moving on to further branches because people wanted it.
Of course, otherwise I would have never done it. Because for me it was like, मैंने जब शुरू भी की थी तो my dad said actually कि अच्छा तो अब ऊपर वाली भी जगह लो, साथ वाली भी लो, अगली भी लो. मैंने कहा अबू अभी कुछ नहीं मैं इस तरह का सोच रहा. I don't think मुझे और चाहिए होगी, बस ये इतनी अच्छी बन गई और क्या चाहिए. And now he when we reflect back he's like मैं तो हमेशा कहा था कि तुम्हें ज़्यादा space चाहिए होगी. But that transition from 1 to 2 was the most not nerve-wracking, I would say, because by that time हमने इतने systems बना चुके थे that I was very confident about the second branch. But once we made that transition from 1 to 2, then from 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and so forth was easier because हमारी जो core team थी, जो 6 लोगों की जो join की है, they slowly like grew up within the company, and they are all basically branch managers, area managers, regional managers, and they're very, 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 very strong in terms of their presence, in terms of their understanding of Double Shot. And I've never had to, and I never probably will hire someone for a superior position in Double Shot, because हमारा जो motto है वो basically it encourages growth from within. So I find leaders from within the organization every day. That's why I go every day, observe my team, and based on who gives me a good gut instinct, I promote that person.
So in short, there is corporate growth in Double Shot.
Big time.
Okay. That is something that I think I'm hearing for the first time, because usually जो इस तरह की जो थोड़ी सी senior positions होती हैं, people hire them from the outside. They're like वो बंदा कर ले ये अच्छा strategist है, इसका मुझे पता है, I'm gonna hire this person for this very specific role. But in Double Shot, you're saying the people within Double Shot who have been part of the team and who can show their abilities and their skill, they move up the ladder.
Yeah, and we all started as baristas, right? So Sara ins and outs.
Sorry, I'm gonna cut you off. Barista at law. आपने लिखा भी हुआ है. Yeah, that's nice.
Even though I'm actually not a barrister, because I practice in the States, but it was just too good for play on words.
Yeah, it was nice.
And I just
I read it. I was like, nice.
Very cliche, I know.
Yeah. That was nice. Another question. You mentioned your father. How happy are your parents on this?
They're over the moon. I think Double Shot ka banna or succeed karna, and I am very privileged and I acknowledge that, in the sense that my family, if God forbid something had happened regarding Double Shot, I could have fallen back on my law career. And even if I didn't have my law career, I had my family enterprise. But it's the emotional support that really mattered. There was not 1 second jab main Double Shot bana tha that they were saying something along the lines of, okay, so when you're done with this, just come back. Or even for that matter, forget Double Shot, jab main law pursue kiya as an independent profession, right? I'm sure, I'm guessing your parents were not lawyers?
No.
There you go, right? So that journey that you had in convincing your parents
definitely
to do law, and the fact that you mentioned that your dad was so supportive, there's a reason for that, right? Because he's basically seen your trajectory and believed in you. So very similar. That emotional support transcends you fundamentally.
That's true.
And I'm very grateful for that.
That's true. All right. So at Double Shot, there has been, and there have been, and there are, I think, futurely planned as well, a lot of workshops. जो I think जो काफी ज़्यादा highlight हुए हैं उनमें से एक जो state of the art coffee making job का था, ठीक है? I think that went really viral, and उसके ऊपर there were a lot of questions as well कि why would you why would you tell people that, you know, how are you doing it, why are you, you know, posting all of these things, and why are you telling people, how do you do all of this? What was the idea behind it actually, you know, because we have seen how coffee shop works, at least in Lahore. We all love to sit at coffee places. I don't think any coffee shop has ever done that.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
So the way I learned how to open Double Shot and to operate it was based on fragments of information here and there. जैसे इसाम हो गई एक source, दोस्त हो गए एक source, एक फलाना course लिया 2-day course इधर उधर. So it's kind of like Slumdog Billionaire, where you know, when he answers those 15 questions in his life, 15 questions on that format of that show, तो 15 सवालों के जवाब उसको अपने life experience से आते हैं. तो I had that knowledge that I acquired over the past few years, and I said, how about we give a platform to people where they can acquire all those skill sets within a matter of days? And I took a course at the London School of Coffee this summer, not to basically learn about coffee, but more to see how they taught about coffee. And uske baad mujhe within like, I remember while I was at the course, and I think the head trainer was like, why are you here? So I said, listen, I promise I'm not going to be that person who's going to be like, yeah, aise karna hai. Main bas chup karke, I'm going to be a fly on the wall. I just want to see how you teach. Aur us course ke literally, this is the one benefit of being like a sole founder slash CEO slash executor of all things related to a company. Okay, within 3 days of coming back, I developed a course. Or मैंने कहा, how about we open the floodgates, let everyone become a barista, and also share our entrepreneurship journey so that people can, you know, become empowered to hone in on their skills and maybe even do their own projects in life, whether it's a coffee shop, whether it's an acrylic nail bar in Russia that one of the people did in our mock workshop, or any other concept. So मेरे लिए ज़्यादा exciting ये था कि लोगों को बुलाना, लोगों को दिखाना कि ये चीज़ करना मुश्किल नहीं है. And here's how it's not difficult. Because growing up in Pakistan, and I'm sure you can relate, सारी जिंदगी हमें बताया जाता है कि ओ बेटा आप ये नहीं कर सकते, बेटी आप ये नहीं कर सकती, लॉ क्यों कर रही हो, लॉ तो इतना मुश्किल है, अच्छा फिर लिटिगेशन तो बहुत मुश्किल है, लिटिगेशन तो छोड़ ही तो, राइट?
बिल्कुल.
What if we were surrounded all our lives with people who just said,
you can do
कर सकते हो, ये भी कर सकते हो. So my idea is कि at least in our capacity as doing these workshops, कि एक लोगों को सिखा दें कि कॉफ़ी किस तरह बनानी है, किस तरह आपने double shot ko samajhna, in the sense ki you realize how important it is what we do and how nuanced it is, but in the meantime you also empower yourself with the skills so that if you want to open your own coffee shop you can, or if you have this takeaway of how to do an entrepreneurial journey, you can basically do it on your own. So for me it was a no-brainer, and we've had 64 graduates so far, and each one of them I think is happy, and you know, some of them are opening their own coffee shops, some of them are, you know, having a coffee setup at home. Some of them said, you know, thank you so much, and we're going to take these skill sets and we're going to apply them abroad. But for me, this has been my proudest achievement yet at Double Shot.
But Ali, I have this question then. कभी दिल में ये ख्याल नहीं आया कि यार, what if somebody does better than me? You know, what if I teach them and they use it better and they become bigger? You know, किस तरह का भी ख्याल नहीं कभी आया?
Like, that means that they deserved it all along. They just didn't have the resources, and now they have the resources. So that must mean that they're working just, if not harder than I am, and they are very talented people. So they perhaps deserved it all along, and all they needed was a push. So I'd be very happy for them.
And you'd be happy for that. That's
100%,
amazing.
100%.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, because normally, you know, when you see people, you know, who've made it, you rarely see them teach how they've made it. You rarely see them show their journey and, you know, even go out of their way and, you know, learn the skill of teaching. That's crazy, in order to just, you know, be able to teach better how they made it. So I think you know, hats off. That's very, very, very impressive. Acha, there was another workshop. Actually, when it comes to workshops, why so many workshops? Why these campaigns? I know you have this campaign where you had differently abled people and you had a workshop with them. I know you had this workshop that we just talked about. And I also, there's also another, there's this, if I'm not wrong, Yucha Macha from Dubai, take it, and you were collaborating with them. Why all of these? I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we have seen coffee shops doing these sort of things, running campaigns. आपने flood relief के लिए भी काम किया. Um, you do these collaborations, you make sure that you're always in, that you're always active, and not just you as a CEO, but your brand Double Shot is there, okay? And you do all of that work through Double Shot. Why? There's so many giants out there that we see, none of them do that, so why you?
I generally think that any successful organization needs an information arm. They need to be able to be recognized more than just being a retail space. So what is exciting is to become a learning institution. To be able to give people that skill set, just like we baat ki workshop ke bhi regarding, is fundamentally very rewarding. And plus, at the end of the day, agar thoda sa cynical angle bhi nikalna hai, then those people perhaps become your brand ambassadors, right? So they will always remember कि अच्छा आज ये coffee जो बन रही है, I know the ins and outs of how that coffee is made. So they will always have a bigger affinity towards your product and brand and identity than any other space. So अगर इसका एक cynical angle निकालना है तो ये वो निकलता है. Regarding persons with disabilities being incorporated, so I was part of a case where my friend, who is a wheelchair activist, कैंपेन टू द लाहौर हाई कोर्ट के डिसेबिलिटी लॉज हमारे बहुत इनफिशिएंट हैं, तो उस पर काम किया जाए. पहले हमारा केस जहाँ पे लगा था, इट was club, tea club, it was a complete mess. But then in 2021, Justice Jawad Hassan heard the petition, and it took an activist judge and a noble judge to proactively nudge all the public functionaries to develop with us and execute a law for empowerment of persons with disabilities, not only in terms of accessibility to buildings, but also education and screening, but employment even, right? So jab double shot kola, and the thing is that law has been passed, but obviously just like any other law, कोई implementation तो बिल्कुल नहीं होती. उसमें एक लॉ का हिस्सा है कि आपने किसी भी प्राइवेट इदारे या पब्लिक इदारे ने अपने 1% डिसेबिलिटी का कोटा रखना है अपने like place of employment पे. Obviously no one is doing it, and it's just another law जो कि bureaucracy इस्तेमाल करती है to strong arm people into filling their pockets. So I was like, I'm in this rare position, what can I do about it? So I actually had someone who's a 17-year-old kid, an LGS A-level student. She was working for her college application, and she developed this organization called Hum Kadam. And she worked with an organization called Deaf Reach. And we had 5 people who are hard of hearing. I don't like using the word deaf. They came for a workshop, और मैंने translator भी बुलाया. And we did a training with them on वही जो workshop हमारी coffee training है, coffee theory, barista skills, milk frothing, ice station, and we did that over 2 days. And all 5 of them are now like full-fledged employees of Double Shot. And it was so easy. सारी जिंदगी हमें बताया जाता है कि like even people at that council, social welfare Baitul Mal department, they're like, I remember one day one of the representatives said, "Sir, आपको नहीं पता कि कितना difficult होता है." And then I thought to myself, now that I have this company, why don't I give a crack at it? And it is actually pretty easy. Like, making coffee, like you see the recipes, like, if you know your recipes, it doesn't matter whether you can per se hair or not. You have a skill set. Even customer service, right? Bachpan mein, I don't know if you experienced this KFC mein, they were very proactive about this. When I would go to a KFC, we would have people who were hard of hearing taking orders, and it creates for a better environment. So it's not like I am like being innovative. I've literally seen this all over the world. Or you get this platform, you're like, Pakistan mein aap kyun nahi ye kar sakte? You literally have to copy paste it based on other concepts, successful ones around the world. And that's what we've done here. It's not novel, but it does require a little bit of focus and just good intent and patience, and anything can happen here.
So, what I've grasped from what you've said right now, कि आप अपने आप को, so मैं थोड़ा सा इसको मैं example दूंगी. We've seen emerging brands using social media on a crazy level to, अपने आप को promote करने के लिए, in order to, become part of Lahore, Islamabad, and other cities. And it is the social media and the posts and the funny posts and the sarcastic posts that they do. However, Double Shot, I've seen के social media पे उस तरह से active नहीं है. However, I feel like Double Shot has created its own space through the work that Double Shot does, the campaigns and workshops. You don't use a lot of social media to hype yourself up. You actually do the work to hype yourself up. Is that true? Do you believe in actually working? Or do you believe that social media bhi utna hi important hona chahiye? Or is it just for the outreach and letting people know what you guys are doing and actually focusing more on the work?
That's a very good question. We focus on our product and service, right? And we celebrate that and we try to cover that. But beyond that, we're pretty boring people. So, like, we make great coffee. We make we are overly nice, I hope, in terms of our employees providing that service. But I don't think we have what it takes to make, fun reels and like gimmicky stuff, which also has its place in society and also has its place in our culture. We wouldn't be good at it if we tried. We would suck at it. So we're just focused on what we do well. And I'd be worried about it if the results were not reflecting that.
Yeah.
But the results are reflecting that. I think the most important barometer for effective execution is where your brand stands in terms of, like, honestly, like sales, and honestly, like, in terms of impact in people's lives. Like, it's not the amount of followers that we have on Instagram that determines whether you are succeeding or not. There is so many other things.
Yeah.
And we have a decent enough presence, just aapne kaha,
Yeah.
कि we are able to highlight what we do in a very, very minimalistic and respectful way.
Ali, one more question before I move on to other questions. Do you make your own recipes?
I make all the recipes that
You make all the recipes?
Every recipe is done by me. We have well-wishers every now and then, like our vendors and our suppliers who coordinate with me. But I love making all the recipes. We're about to introduce our fall menu. We are launching actually today our new version of the hot chocolate.
Oh.
And it took me 2 months to try it, and I wasted a lot of calories on that, by the way. But it's not wasted. I should be phrasing it better. But like, that's the one part I love, like making new recipes. And we're starting a peppermint mocha next week, and that's going to be really lit.
Nice.
I love this part about my job.
Try and test. You add in the recipes, you're like, Dexter's laboratory.
Yeah, ऐसा ही है. अब मुझे कोई भी ड्रिंक की रेसिपी पूछ लो, I'm proud to say कि अब वो स्टेज आ गई कि कुछ रेसिपीज आती हैं जो मुझे भूल चुकी होती है, because it's just so massive now. And sometimes my team is reminding me कि सर ये रेसिपी थी. Like,
that's amazing.
That's a wonderful feeling. That means the system is working.
That's amazing. So we have some coffee myths we would like you to break. I don't know क्यों, लेकिन ये भी recently बहुत ज़्यादा मशहूर हुआ था कि coffee has crushed cockroaches. Roaches, yes, कि allow करती है food authority and roaches होते हैं उसमें. Is that true?
It is not.
You're concerned. I can see that.
I think so. That's the first time I'm hearing about this part. I knew that Brazil mein they were making bread out of crumbs from cockroaches, but I didn't hear in regards to coffee.
Yeah, there was this thing going on social media, it has cockroaches.
No, I think what they're trying to, I'll tell you what it exactly is.
Okay.
Just जिन farms में ये बनती है,
okay,
उगती है कॉफी, उसमें फिर जब बीन्स को अलग से वो साइड पर रख देते हैं, तो वो कुछ जो जगह होती है उनकी सर्फेसेस में इर्द गिर्द ना कॉकरोचेस होते हैं.
Okay.
मतलब कि इट कैन बी इवन लाइक कि आपने कोई एग्रीकल्चरल प्लांट बनाया हुआ है, तो उधर उसकी सराउंडिंग्स में मुख्तलिफ किस्म के पेस्टिसाइड्स और इंसेक्ट्स हो सकते हैं, which can maybe even infest into the batch. But we have this thing called Specialty Coffee Association, जो basically रैंक करती है कॉफ़ी को बेस्ड ऑन देयर फार्मिंग टेक्निक्स, बेस्ड ऑन देयर स्टोरेज टेक्निक्स, तो उसी की बेसिस पे जो ग्रेड 80 से ऊपर आता है उसको स्पेशलिटी कॉफ़ी कहते हैं.
अच्छा.
So those are the coffees that have been graded based on their superior environmental standards
Yeah.
and their roasting technique and their flavors. So हम वही कॉफ़ी लेते हैं.
Oh.
So we have this criteria कि उस बैच में कोई भी बैच हमारा आता है तो वो स्पेशलिटी ग्रेड से कम ना हो. So and most coffee shops in Lahore do that. So
Okay.
you don't have to worry about any cockroaches in your drinks.
No
or
roaches, guys.
The making of it. And I'm speaking on behalf of all coffee shops in Lahore.
Coffee is animal excretion.
Well, I think that happens in some parts of Indonesia and Thailand.
Okay.
Jahan pe what they do is once the coffee bean is being fermented, usko they mix it with elephant dung and stuff like that. But
Guys.
we haven't tried it yet. So I can't recommend or can recommend it. I mean, maybe it is good. I don't know.
Bro. Coffee stunts your growth. Is that true? What do you think?
I don't think there's any literature which states that it stunts your growth. Stunts in what sense?
I'm not sure. It just stunts your growth. you don't grow tall.
Yeah, right. Well, physical, like, or mental, or biological, but
Probably I think physical.
Coffee does not, like, physical ka to usse koi lena dena nahi. I think here's what caffeine does to your system. So the biggest pro it has is when used in moderation, it activates the more active parts of your brain, and it kind of like hyper activates them in a way that they're productive. But एस्प्रेसो कैफीन का ये ड्रॉबैक होता है कि जितनी जल्दी वो इंजेक्ट करता है इस एनर्जी के साथ उतनी जल्दी वो विड्रॉल भी आ जाता है. सो दैट इज द प्रो एंड कॉन अबाउट कॉफी एट द सेम टाइम. एंड ऑब्वियसली at some level it can upset your stomach lining if you have coffee that is too acidic too often. So like most things in life, in moderation it is good. I was past that stage a long time ago.
Okay. Is decaf actually decaf? Is there no caffeine in decaf?
Like 1 or 2% maximum. बहुत कम होती है. It's very negligible, and it is actually like basically बनती caffeine के साथ है, then it goes through a process where the caffeine is taken out. And it's actually, it does wonders. We've had decaf for 2 years at Double Shot, and we have never had any consumer who's had decaf say, oh, you know what, it's not having its intended effect.
Oh, that's good, because I read कि decaf में भी caffeine होता है. ऐसे लगे होते हैं.
It's kind of like saying कि आपके पास्ता में vodka होता है, or like something like जो evaporated जो alcohol नहीं होता उसको आप कह दो कि एकदम से कि well there's all alcohol content. It's the same analogy.
Okay. Is coffee equivalent to a pre-workout?
I have it every morning as a pre-workout.
Oh, okay. So it
100%. I mean, and I can tell you the perfect drink to have as a pre-workout. You get an iced cortado. Basically, it's double shot espresso with milk, less amount of milk, an iced cortado. I've been having it for 3 years, and it's just an amazing pre-workout drink. You can even have it while you're exercising. Just sip it lightly, and it'll change your life.
All right. Chai versus coffee. As a lawyer turned coffee guy, how do you plead? Guilty or innocent for betraying chai culture?
I feel like a chai culture needs to be done a bit of service to. And I
agree.
I definitely think कि इसको hone in करने के तरीके कार हैं, and I'm actually kind of working on that a little bit.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
One thing coffee can do that you think chai cannot?
I think that like hyper injection of energy is something that chai doesn't. मेरे ख्याल है chai का caffeine content इस तरह का होता है कि वो थोड़ा सा time लेता है.
Yeah.
Like there's coffee which is hyper intensive, chai which is intensive, matcha जिसका caffeine content over many hours आता है. So I would say कि chai is for like that like nice, lasting, and paced properly kind of caffeine touch, and coffee shot like espresso is like bam, and you're at it.
Probably chai is for every time. We don't know.
It is. I love chai myself.
Yeah, baat khatam. End of podcast. All right.
Right.
One thing chai will always win at.
I just think it's the perfect hospitality drink
Yes.
in a residential setting. I know I butchered I took the life out of it by explaining it like a lawyer. But घर में अगर किसी का आप आ रहे हो, like, you know, no one's gonna. I don't think serving, even if you have a great setup, like, oh, here's a cappuccino for you versus के oh ये, you know, mixed chai आपके लिए. That no coffee can never take that away from chai.
That's true. That's true. Morning chai or morning coffee?
100% coffee. Yeah, but it just depends on who you are. I'm just talking about myself.
That's sad. Truck stop chai dhaba या sleek coffee lounge?
I think both are overrated now because I think chai ko stereotype karna as a truck adda experience and not as a refined experience is wrong.
That's true.
And coffee ko ab jo bana diya gaya as ke has to be a bourgeoisie gourmet
Yeah.
experience is also wrong, because I think both have places on the opposite spectrums of each other.
That's true. That was nice. All right, Ali, we have 3 different cups और इन तीनों में different coffees हैं, ठीक है, Americanos.
Right.
इसमें से एक आपकी है, ठीक है, and
Okay.
you will have to figure it out कि इसमें से कौन सी आपकी है, ठीक है. I'm gonna take off the covers right here, और there we go.
How did your sister-in-law identify it without even looking? Acha.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
This is more intense than I thought it would be. This is not.
Okay.
Definitely not. This is really funny, Mike. This might be, but it's pretty dilute. It's this one.
Yes, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right. Wow.
No,
That's
but-
crazy.
No, but not better than your sister-in-law.
That's crazy. Yes, this is double shot, you guys.
Wonderful. I'll just put this
Yes.
back.
Ali, you mentioned that double shots main goal was to create a community of happy people. Do you think you have done that and the goal is achieved?
I don't want to pat myself on the back at all. I have to go by even the data, but हर रोज जो मुझे लोग मिलते हैं. And I cannot tell you, so there are love languages that people have, right? That they have an affinity towards. Maybe a words of affirmation. So when on a daily basis, for instance, what you were talking about your bhabhi,
Yeah.
this is one of the many stories I get to hear every day.
Yes.
And each time it feels like कि मुझे पहली दफा किसी ने compliment दिया.
Oh, that's amazing.
Because each compliment feels so special to me, and to be able to get so much of that. And coffee is something other, like, as compared to like an eatery space, coffee आपको हर रोज चाहिए होती है.
That's
So to be a part of so many people's daily lives is such a blessing and such a big responsibility.
that too.
So I definitely feel like इर्द-गिर्द मेरे सारे लोग जो हैं, जो मुझे जानते हैं, जो मुझे नहीं भी जानते, or who have come to know me through Double Shot, I genuinely do feel like I've created a happy space, because, you know, life is already tough enough. It sucks at times, so you need that bubble. Right?
That's so true.
Yeah.
Ali, what do you think was one of your major failures from which you learned? Has there been such a moment in your life where you felt कि यार ये मुझे शायद पहले पता होता तो आज ये बेहतर होता, या all of it has been a consistent learning journey?
Yeah, I think my perspective is not novel on that, but in the sense that failures do teach you a lot, right? Like, for
Yeah.
instance, जब Double Shot खुलने से 3-4 महीने पहले, the consultant entity that was going to provide to us the beans, that was going to provide to us the machinery and everything, I was more reliant on them at that time कि वो coffee shop का experience बनाए. That relationship broke down in a single evening. Obviously, at that time, they were much stronger placed than I was. I was just someone with an aspiration of making a coffee shop. And that was a very ominous and depressing evening. But uske baad, you know, I actually went, you know, all in terms of learning everything and being responsible for everything. So it was the best thing that could have happened. So I think a lot of academics, teachers, and motivational speakers will always tell you that like failures are a blessing in disguise that reflect in the longer run once you look back.
There was this post where it said you are expanding to Karachi. Is that right?
No, we're not expanding to Karachi.
You're not?
No. We have a couple of tricks up our sleeves, but one thing I've learned is when it happens, then celebrate it, not beforehand. Because it's not about even nazar or karma or anything like that, but positive things coming.
So I think, in my personal opinion, Double Shot, rather than just a cafe, it has played a huge part in shaping a culture. For example, the matcha culture, the matcha cult. It has evolved a lot, and it has created a lot of trends, and it's on a good trajectory. Where do you see Double Shot in the next 5 years? Like, on what scale do you see it go international? Do you see it go intercity, or do you how do you foresee it?
It's a very good question, and I think, listen, like I when I see like local brands that are serving coffee, or international brands that are serving coffee in our retail spaces, aside from just coffee shops, I feel like local brands should be there. And that's not just us, other coffee shops as well, other ventures as well. I feel like we should be a bigger part of people's everyday lives, whether it is on a coffee shop or whether it's like that sachet you're getting. I think there's so much scope कि हम सब इकट्ठे मिलके we empower each other, and we seep into everyone's routine on just not a coffee shop basis, but in other facets of life.
So probably on shelves in grocery stores.
I think there's no reason why local coffee shops cannot play a role in that. They should. They will. They will. Yeah. And I hope that we're good at it, because to gain trust of a mass consumer, it requires some level of competence, because I know what it is like, in the sense as a consumer, कि जब वो import का ban आया था 2018-2019 में, तो a lot of local brands showed up, or even during the boycott, but at some level they could not deliver. So we would not want to be a cautionary tale कि, oh, you know what, the local brands are again, but they can't replicate that experience. I feel like all coffee shops have the resources to be able to replicate that same standard, if not better.
You just mentioned they were not able to deliver, the local brands. This has been an issue, right? You being somebody who has explored this entrepreneur side of this country now, would you want to give out a strategy, or how would you describe how to go for it? Because as you mentioned कि जब ये boycott पे आया था और उससे पहले जब import बंद हुई थी, I think that was the best chance for a lot of local brands to just deep-root themselves in the market. Some were able to do it, some were not. The brands which were not, उनको शायद timely realize नहीं हुआ, and they were underconfident, and they just did not want to do it, and they were just very comfortable in their own shoes. What's your perspective on this? Are you one of those who would like catch on the opportunity as soon as possible? Is that a good thing कि बिल्कुल on a hunch you just do it, or do you strategize? और अगर वो आप strategize करते हैं तो उसमें जो time निकल जाता है, what if वो opportunity भी miss हो गई है? So what do you have to say on that?
You've articulated it really well. I think बड़े concepts के लिए आप hunch पे नहीं जा सकते. You have to try, test, do R&D, and then reach towards the idea of starting small and then scaling up. I think ये जो principle है ना, starting small, scaling up, R&D, ये हर चीज़ पे apply होता है. Not just कि मैंने पहली coffee shop खोली, अगर मैं concept को ला रहा हूँ तो I'd be very worried if I invested so many resources and started big. I think there's definitely a way. I can know my own experience here in regards to something on a more intimate setting. Like, for instance, some people come to our coffee shop and don't like our coffee. They say कि international brand ABC की coffee जो है ना वो बहुत बेहतर है आपसे. And I don't, in my workshop, I've promoted this principle as well. There's no such thing as better or worse coffee. There's different coffees. So at some level, it's about consumer expectations as well. Consumers, I think अब इतनी nuance बन रही market coffee में कि you have different kinds of consumers for different kinds of experiences. International brands actually cater to a more generic experience than the local market. And maybe the local market has to adapt itself as well.
Do you think when you were starting this coffee shop and up trial and error wala phase tha aapka with the recipes, did you think, because I feel like a Lahori market is a bit difficult because we have this, very established taste. Everything is supposed to be just, very, very flavorful. And something like coffee can't be very, very flavorful. Otherwise, coffee ka pura maqsad faut ho jata hai. So did you have trouble with that?
I think a coffee menu is so decorated and so wide now that there's something for everyone. We have an espresso, macchiato, cortado, flat white, which are for like coffee connoisseurs. We have iced pistachio latte, which is like a sugar bomb overload, and a cool whip latte.
Okay.
But so many consumers like that. We have our frappuccinos, we have Spanish lattes, which I think is the perfect delicate balance actually, which merges the two worlds. So I think अब वो coffee का profile इतना अब diverse हो गया कि अब वो उस चीज की फिक्र करने की जरूरत नहीं है per se.
Yeah, so you have everything for everybody.
Yeah, but so one thing that I did realize once I started was कि it's if you think कि आपने अगर आइस पिस्ताशियो लाटे या फिर मोका फ्रैपेचिनो बनाई है तो आपकी espresso does not matter because there's so many there's an abundance of so many other flavors. That's what separates a bad coffee from a great coffee still, because no matter how much you mask it with flavor and syrups and ice cream, your espresso and your fundamental foundational product will seep in for better or worse into that drink.
This is me.
Yeah, just it's yeah. People might think, ice Spanish latte, there's so much condensed milk and sugar in it. Okay, at some level, it doesn't matter how the espresso is, which is the foundation of a coffee experience, but it does matter.
It does matter.
It matters a lot.
I tried. It does matter. All right. From your experience, it's a proper journey, from a very different side of the world to a very different side of the world, from a very different field to a very different field. What would your advice be to somebody who's stuck in a legal or a corporate world and they want to move into this passion-filled world of theirs? They want to pursue their passion, but they're scared. What would you want to say to them?
I would say, first of all, surround yourself with positive people.
Important.
Do not be struck by the naysayers. Ask yourself why you want to pursue alternate kind of profession or kind of hobby. Is it because you're bored? Is it because you're spiteful? Is it because there's a market need? Is it because you have something that you feel is innovative? Because for me, that transition was not organic, but it was based on the idea that, oh, there's a market need for a very particular concept in a very particular small community. And there was innovation in the sense that, 6 a.m. opening time, fast turnaround coffee, calibrated to the decimal. So I would say that if one actually wants to implement something or is passionate about something and feels like they're doing it for the right reasons, then definitely go for it. मेरा experience ये definitely बताता है आप दोनों चीजें एक वक्त में नहीं कर सकते. You kind of have to sacrifice.
I'm gonna be. It's a very different question, but it just came to my mind. You are the first coffee shop that has came up with drive-through, and you're the only coffee shop that opens up at 6 a.m. or 5:30 a.m.
5:30.
5:30 a.m. Why the two? Because मैं एक दफा actually 6 बजे गई थी double shot just to see, before this episode के लोग actually आ रहे हैं.
Oh, wonderful.
सुबह भी आ रहे हैं.
Which branch was it?
It was defense wali, phase 6 wali branch. Jog karke, exercise karke, they're just straight up coming in at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
And that was wonderful to see that, there is now a coffee shop that caters to those people as well. Did you identify this market or the set of people, or you just wanted to be open up at 5:30 a.m. A, and B, why the drive-through?
For number one, I just had a hunch. For most of these things, I have a hunch.
Okay.
And just like opening in Marriott, I had a hunch. Opening 5:30 a.m., I thought to myself, होंगे लोग.
हाँ.
And this is not to say कि जब हमने खोला था there weren't like weeks where we were struggling, or to say कि अभी भी कुछ branches में कभी-कभी होता है कि 6 to 7 नहीं आते ज़्यादा लोग, but it's the novelty of it. The idea कि आप किसी की life में इतनी ज़्यादा value दे रहे हो कि अगर वो सुबह 6 बजे coffee ले रहा है तो that person is set for the day. And that's a huge contribution that you can make. And on a more cynical end, it's amazing marketing.
Yeah.
Because ये शख्स अगले 10 लोगों को जरूर बताएगा कि मैंने आज 6 बजे कॉफी ली थी.
और वो ग्रुप्स में आए हैं.
Yeah, groups में.
Not just like individuals आए हैं. सुबह सुबह दोस्त आ रहे हैं उठ के. सुबह सुबह there is this uncles का ग्रुप आ रहा है जो I think morning yoga करके किसी पार्क में आए हैं and now they want to sit for coffee. They're like middle-aged men जो सुबह सुबह आ रहे हैं बैठ रहे हैं and they're just having their morning चाय and अखबार मैंने देखा लोगों को लेकर आते हुए. So that was amazing, you know.
It's my favorite time of being a double shot because मैं सुबह 5:30-6 बजे जब पहुंचता किसी भी double shot में, I get to interact more with the team. There's not that much, लेकिन जो लोग आते हैं वो बहुत ही एक अच्छी positive vibe लेके आते हैं. Not that the others don't, but they are very specially tuned to the double shot experience.
Yeah, that's amazing. And drive-through.
Yeah, it was just, you know, it was 2012. I was in the States and I was at my sister's and 5:30 बजे पाकिस्तान का क्रिकेट मैच शुरू होना था, वर्ल्ड कप सेमीफाइनल, और इंटरनेट नहीं चल रहा था.
अच्छा.
So then I made a call. उस वक्त Uber नहीं होती थी and I asked the Starbucks के are you guys open? And they said yeah, we're open. So I went on a cab and I got there like around, actually it was like 4:45 a.m. So I got there by 5 and not only were they open, they had the entire dining area open.
Achha.
And there were customers coming in and out and there was a drive-through going on. And I thought to myself, wow, ये तो दुनिया ही और है. And you know, it's not like, you know, as consumers, when was the last time you thought के अच्छा जैसे अगर एक retail clothes की दुकान है, उसका 10 बजे का opening time है, would you go at 10 a.m.?
No.
Because what would happen if you go at 10 a.m.?
उस वक्त सेटअप probably या तो सेटअप हो रहा होगा या बहुत ज्यादा रश होगा या I don't know, probably I think सेटअप हो रहा होगा.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like you feel like you're violating their space.
Yeah. Because उस वक्त वो भी warm up हो रहे होते हैं and they're putting in clothes and you wouldn't want to go there at 10. You would rather go at 11.
There you go, right? But like with every principle in life, जैसे for instance, like you and I were supposed to meet today, right? Like, for instance, our time was 10:30, right? Or मैं 10:30 and you're still setting up, right?
Yeah.
You're not that person.
Yeah.
You're someone who's ready before time.
Yeah.
Why should the retail experience be any different? So that's what I position Double Shot as. And the drive-through was an extension of that.
Okay.
It should be quick turnaround and people should not have to wait too long for their coffee. It should be a very, you know,
quick,
exciting and quick experience. And that place जहाँ पे ड्राइव थ्रू है was not meant to be a drive through space. It's a plaza जिसका मैंने corner वाला लिया, मैंने building structure और मैंने landlord, they're very sweet people, but जब agreement sign होने लगा तो मैंने तब तक नहीं बताया कि मैं किस चीज़ के लिए इस्तेमाल कर रहा हूँ.
अच्छा.
And when the agreement was about to be signed, last draft था, उसमें मैंने कहा था with a reasonable drive through, मैंने बस add किया उसमें. And I just had them sign it and they said कि okay, पता नहीं क्यों छोटा मोटा सा drive through होगा, and now it's like 300 drive throughs a day.
That's crazy because I remember कि वो पोल एक randomly, मैं गुलबर्ग में हूँ और randomly एक पोल खड़ा होता है मैकडॉनल्ड्स की तरह. दूसरा मैकडॉनल्ड्स का अचानक से वन डे यूज से कि पोल खड़ा होगा और M लिखा हुआ है, उसी तरह एक पोल खड़ा होता है और उधर एक कॉफी वो टू गो कॉफी का एक उसके ऊपर लोगो बना हुआ है. I'm just like ये क्या है? And I do remember being very interested in it, and then I realized कि drive through coffee, and I was just like, huh?
Yeah, where did this come from?
Yeah, it felt very different, and but I was like, that's interesting. You know, I thought to myself, you know, I was like, oh, never seen that before. But that's interesting. Thank you so much, Ali, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was a lovely experience. So many learned insights. And I think what we take from this podcast today and from your learnings are कि यार always be consistent, be persistent. No matter जो मर्जी field है आपका, you do your homework first and then move into what you want to do. Don't rush into things. You will always have time. whenever in life you think, acha, you want to do something else, do your homework, be prepared, and then move on. There's no rush, is what I've gotten from all of this. There's no rush to anything. Be confident and surround yourself with positive people. I think that's the biggest take from this
100%.
podcast. And stay happy and positive and stay humble. Just don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to think out of the box. I think that will always help, like it did Ali. And thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
that's it. And I'm out. Bye. Oh, also, don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment your favorite double shot flavor, coffee flavor. Bye.